where Colin was wrong.
Derek Carr retired. I always liked him. A 4-time All-Pro during the bad Pro Bowler during the Al Davis cruddy years, which is hard to do. He was a life preserver for a terribly run franchise. Third season in the league, he was third in the MVP vote. Second round out of Fresno State. I liked him a lot. But there's not much you can do. The Raiders were a mess when he was there, and then Dennis Allen is not a head coach. He's more of a coordinator. I thought he was going to have a Phillip Rivers career where you didn't maybe watch a ton of him in college, but you were going to look at the end of his career and there'd be some Hall of Fame votes. And he retired yesterday, and it never transpired.
Okay. There's a little bit of a glitchy of a take there. This was a bummer, honestly, to have him retire because of, physical reasons. And I saw a lot of people celebrating it, which I think was, Derek Carr is a good person. It's not like he's kind of like this known jerk in the league or something like that. And, he was essentially forced to retire, and Derek Carr is significantly better than people realize. I'm not telling you that he was Stafford, because I think Stafford is truly special, but it's like Stafford in Detroit compared to Stafford with Los Angeles Rams, and Sean McVay is light years different. It's just night and day. And the reality is that Derek Carr never really was able to sync up with a well-run franchise that was well coached with a good enough roster to really have all of those things connect at the same time. And it's a bummer, honestly. I really, really believe that. I don't think we ever truly got to see the best version of Derek Carr, unfortunately. And yeah, he had to deal with a lot of nonsense over his career. Changing cities, dealing with the whole Gruden thing, Antonio Brown. I don't know. Things got weird. He then, obviously goes to New Orleans, has that coach get fired, has his head coach get fired. I'm not going to tell you that some of that stuff wasn't self-inflicted and some of his own decisions, because I think that's totally fair. But also battling the shoulder injury, there's a great chance that this was actually lingering for him for longer than people realize, or even he would even potentially admit. Because it's not like 1 minute he's totally fine, the next minute they're like, oh, you got a degenerative shoulder issue, you're gonna have to retire now. It's just very rare is it going to be something like that. You're going to be working through some problems, and then eventually it's kind of like, okay, this is officially what's happening. So I think it's a bummer when you see someone have to retire like that. And I was just talking about this in the comment section with people when we were trying to figure out, I forget who's, I think it was actually ironically about Matthew Stafford, and they were trying to say how can we predict how long someone's career will go? And I kind of said it's just kind of nearly impossible, because there's just so many factors and variables at play that it's just really, really hard to, with any degree of reliability, to really know. And then you have something like this, and it's just well, this is a perfect example of that. And it's a shame, because when it first came out that he had shoulder issues, people kind of, thought, and I even talked about it, is he doing this to try to force himself out of New Orleans? Does he not want to be there? Does he know that they're going to draft a quarterback? There was rumors that Kellen Moore, the new head coach for the Saints, they're not really seeing eye to eye. There was it just became rumor. And now he's legitimately retiring. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Like I said, when I first heard that news and the why, I felt nothing but sadness, honestly, because you just don't want to see players go out that way. And so, yeah, I don't know. But it seems like a lot of people are taking a little bit more of a lighthearted approach compared to someone who's they're essentially having a career-ending injury, is essentially what it is, and being forced to retire. I think that should just give people kind of a step to pause, some space to pause, honestly, just to be like, oh man, that's a bummer, you know? Like, I even feel like even a segment like here doesn't really do it justice, because Colin's like, I was wrong. I thought he would have some Hall of Fame votes, look like Phillip Rivers, but he's retiring, and that's the way it goes. And then you keep moving on, and I'm like, well, he spent more time talking about, well, Shador Sanders get starting snaps with the Cleveland Browns, you know, a story that doesn't actually matter. Compare that to Derek Carr, who actually put in the work, tried his best to build the best version of his career, was misaligned many times, quite frankly, throughout his career. And again, I'm not going to act like I feel bad for Derek Carr. He's gotten paid a ton of money and has lived, a better life than I'll probably ever get the opportunity to live. So it's like, I'm not shedding tears for the man, but I don't know. You know, I think you should look at this no differently than if we had a 27-year-old running back who's been playing great, playing well, starter in the league, and shreds his knee and then can't play football anymore. And now he's forced to retire. And I feel like that would cause everyone to kind of really like sit and think about it and talk about it and, honor their career and the injuries and discuss it. And it just doesn't feel like Derek Carr's getting that type of treatment. And I feel as though he should, personally. That's like I said, that was, I went one morning, I forget what was it, yesterday morning, I guess, or Saturday morning, whatever it was. I just go on ESPN.com pretty much as soon as I wake up every single day. And it's just like Derek Carr retires because of shoulder injury. And I'm like, what? What even is that? And I look it up and it's just like, I don't know. Feels like there should be a little bit more gravity to this and kind of just like, yeah, he's done. He's retiring. What are you going to do? Keep on keeping on. But yeah, it's a bummer. It is a bummer. But it seems like the Saints are doing right by him. It seems like by him retiring, it's kind of mutually beneficial where he gets to still keep like a chunk of change, but then he also gives, a lot of cap space to the Saints as well. So it seems like it ends up being kind of like mutually beneficial, because he could have also probably lingered for the Saints a little bit, collected more money, and just been like, yeah, I'm gonna try to come back from this injury, and he would have still got, he still would have been in a position to get paid. So I think it seems like it was the way how it was done was mutually beneficial. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Derek Carr retiring from the NFL? How do you think about it? Honestly, that's really just my straight up question. How do you feel about it? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.